Today on Gun Reviews with Brett, we're going to talk about the Taurus 357 Magnum Tracker Series. Let's get started. So before I get started, I do have to mention that this one is older. I've had this for about 15 years, and a lot of people who know Taurus, they can definitely spot it by the pistol grip right here. And the reason why I know that is Taurus ended up changing this design because a lot of people did not like this pistol grip. Now, let's look at some of the features. I'm going to show you right off the bat. It is unloaded because I'm going to be handling this a lot. I just want to let you know. So this one has a 6.5-inch barrel. It has a built-in muzzle brake on both sides. It also holds 7 rounds. It has a rail up here if you want to put a red dot or a small pistol scope. This pistol, as long as I've had it, has been reliable, has been good. And I know a lot of people have a problem with Taurus pistols because some editions, some versions, when they cycle to the next round after you shoot one, it actually gets stuck halfway from cycling from one to the other. So the one thing you need to look at every time, let's say you have any kind of revolver style pistol. Now this is double action. So what that means is you put the hammer back, pull the trigger, or you can just simply pull the trigger. Let me get back to what I was saying is it's usually a problem with this right here. So whenever you're buying a pistol or you're looking at any specific revolver, definitely check that out. Just because if it's worn down, you're gonna have that issue. Why did I buy this? What was the reasoning back about 15 years ago to buy this? Now, at that time, I was planning on doing a lot more elk hunting, gonna be way up in the mountains. Now, I needed something as a sidearm for bears, specifically grizzly bears, because hunting season's right around that time when they go into hibernation and they're super hungry and they can be aggressive. Now, I know some people are gonna say, well, why don't you bring just bear spray? I need something with some distance here. Bear spray is gonna be my last option. I'm looking at 30 feet with bear spray. I want to do about 50 yards, okay? If a bear, a full-grown grizzly is charging at me, I want some distance. So that's why I got this. And I know some people are gonna say, well, why didn't you get a 10 mil? 15 years ago, 10 mil wasn't as a big a deal as it is today. Or why didn't I get like a 500? It's just too cumbersome and just kind of a pain in the butt. So I went with a 357 Magnum because yes, it can take down a bear. And I want a longer barrel for distance. But at the time, there was 2 of them for sale. There was this one, the Tracker Series one, and I think at that time it was about 450 bucks, right around there. They had this one, and then they had another one with the same barrel length, but it wasn't a Tracker Series, it was a Taurus. The first thing I did is I held both of my hands, and this one felt better. The other one had a wider grip down here, so it didn't feel right. And this one just has a really good balance. And that's what I really like about it. So needless to say, this one had a better feel for my hand, better balance, while the other one just felt kind of clunky and oversized, even though the barrel was the same length. So I chose this one, the Tracker Series. Now, when I went out shooting with it, the one thing I noticed, because it was balanced right, the weight's good, and had the built-in muzzle brake, it shot very, very smoothly. It was real light. So anytime I shot it, it was basically just this. That was it. And I could even just one-hand it and just have that. That's what I like about it. And it does have really good distance. I will honestly give this gun a lot of praise because it has really good distance. So that's why I got it, as protection. A little bit extra out in the woods and the mountains. Now let's say I was out hunting and all of a sudden I'm getting charged and I have a 500. Now I'm gonna be like this, pulling it out, big and cumbersome and heavy, and that 500 is gonna beat me up. So that's why I did not go with something like a 500 or a bigger round. Now let's talk a little bit about distance. Some of you guys know I don't do a lot of elk hunting, so I really didn't need this for elk hunting, but I did kill a deer with it one year. Now, 10 years ago or so, I don't really remember, it was deer season, went out to my father-in-law's place. Now, the property behind my father-in-law's place, at that time, the landowner was letting people go out there and go hunting if he knew you. So I went over there, it was snowing, the wind was light, and I was using my rifle. Now, the rifle I was using, I will do a review on at some point soon. So, behind my father-in-law's place, I get out, and I'm looking, and I look out in the hill, and about 640 yards, not joking, 640 yards, was a buck. And the way this property is, on the other side of the fence line, there's a swamp, and then a ton of flat land, and then it almost goes up to a straight vertical, like a big bowl. And he was in the farthest he could almost possibly be. Now, I've done long distance shooting with my rifle. I've gone out with my buddies. We've gone out and shot in 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards. We've done all that. So I know the yardage I need. The windage wasn't a thing, wasn't really bad because the snowflakes were just falling straight. So I wasn't worried about the wind. So of course, I'm gonna take that shot because I've shot long range to where you can see the shot through a spotting scope before you even hear it hitting the plate. So anyways, take the shot, deer goes down. I'm like, great, all right. So what happens after that? I put my rifle back in the truck. I go knock on the door of my father-in-law's house, he's home. And I said, hey, I got a deer dead up there. You wanna help me go get it? He goes, yeah, sure. Now, we got about a foot of snow on the ground by this time. And since I shot that deer to when we start walking, probably about 20, 30 minutes. And that deer hasn't moved at all. So we head up that way. Only thing I have on me is my 357 because it's always gonna be on my side. And we're going past that swamp, it's all froze over, go past the flat part. It's like 300 yards long. And then we start climbing up that big hill. It's almost like a big giant plateau. It's huge. We're about 200 yards away from that deer. And I look up and he's walking. And I'm like, why is he walking? My father-in-law's looking at him, I'm looking at him, we're looking through binoculars. Why is he walking? I know he's hit. I found out later where he was hit, of course. He was hit, I hit him right above his back leg, right at the spine, and it did an L turn along the spine. So he had a major spine shock. He was still alive. He would have ended up dying and the coyote would have ate him, but I wasn't gonna let that happen. Here's the bigger dilemma. He's walking to the neighboring property. Now that neighboring property, they don't like hunters out there. They set up cameras facing away from their properties just to make sure that nobody's hunting on their property or nobody shoots a deer on a different property and gets on their property. They don't want anything to deal with that. So I'm like, okay, this deer has to go down now. So he's getting to about 20 yards from that fence line and I kind of move up the hill a little bit faster. There's no cover. I can't hide from this deer. He knows we're there. This is where the story gets crazier again. Okay, now my father-in-law's gonna tell you the yardage was longer. He might be right. But I'm gonna modestly say that this was an 80-yard shot with a pistol. It sounds crazy, I know. Anyway, so there's a foot of snow on the ground. I drop to my knees and I am aiming like this because that is the elevation. I shoot once, I miss. The deer doesn't even care that I shot. He is trying to walk away as fast as possible. He's not running, he's walking. He's about 15 yards away from that fence line. Aim up again. Pull back on that hammer. And this time I dropped my barrel just a little bit down. And I shot. What happened next, that deer's back legs popped straight up. He turned and flipped. And then just laid there. My father-in-law looks at me and he goes, how come every time you hunt out here, something crazy happens? It's always a crazy story because I do have another hunting story that happened out there that's even crazier than that one, which I may or may not tell because it is absolutely absurdly crazy. But where did I shoot that deer? Straight through both lungs, and it just dropped that deer. Kicked his back legs up, did a flip, boom. Died up the hill, got all the way up there, and then we basically surfed that deer all the way down the hill. So this thing does have some yardage. Now, with that being said, sounds unbelievable. So this summer, what I'm gonna do, or early spring, whenever the weather's perfect, because this area I go shooting, the road is either passable or it's impassable. I wanna set up my new shooting table and set up targets, 25, 50, 75, 100 yards, and test out the distance of the Taurus 357 Magnum tracker. One thing I forgot to mention, it shoots 357, but it also shoots 38 special. And if you use 38 special with this, it gets dirty. 38 special is a dirty round. Everybody knows that, who knows 38 special. And when it comes to double action or single action revolvers, you never fly that up. Why? Again, that's what ruins that piece right there. So never, ever, ever do that. Never had a problem. The hammer comes back real easy. Trigger's very light. I really like this Taurus tracker. It's done the job that I've always needed it to. What do I give this specific 357 Magnum Taurus tracker? I give this an A+. It's never let me down. I mean, I tried to think back if it's ever had that problem where it doesn't cycle to the next one. I can't remember, maybe once, maybe twice. I don't remember, I've had it so long, but every time I've needed it to work, it's always been there. It's like Jesus Christ. You call on Jesus Christ and you believe that he died on the cross to forgive you of your sins. On the third day, God rose him from the dead and sent him to heaven. He will always be there for you. So this video helped you guys out. Please give the channel a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. Also, God, Guns, and Wild Game is on Facebook. Join me on Facebook. Post things that you've gotten this year during hunting season. Also, other things you want me to review, other things you want me to talk about, let me know. Until next time, God bless you and have a great day.